Okay, and thank you for coming out with Her World or Mine. Such a beautiful song.
Thank you.
And it's so personal to you. What was it like releasing this song, and especially this video, which we'll get into, that was something that felt so intimate?
Yeah, this song is one of the reasons I fell into country music, was those story songs and just the honesty about it. You know, we all like to drink and hang out and throw parties, but country music is about real life, and it's honest, and that's not always the real thing. And there, to get to love, to get to triumph, to get to a place where you are having those parties, you got to go through heartbreak. And in this song, I love the fact that it kind of leaves it open, where it allows the listener to put their own story in that song. You really don't know if you're talking about my world or her world by the end of it. You know, it's a song that I lived every lyric of this, and to have it out and to see people come to me with their stories, and it's not just all heartbreak. I mean, sometimes a sad song inspires somebody to keep fighting for that relationship, or to call that person back and go, hey, you know, I thought I wanted this and I didn't. And I think these type of songs, like I said, for me, it's what I love about country music, and I think they're the songs that need to be heard, because it's real. We've all been there. Whether you're the one planning to move forward, or you're the one kind of holding the pieces of what you thought would never fall. Now you're trying to figure out how to get through that and to get where you're going. And it's kind of cool, I guess, in a way that it's the single that I released about a heartbreak years ago now, and then I released it when I was about to get married. So there's kind of
And we love Carly Pierce. You know we're going to talk about that. My favorite relationship in Nashville.
There's this like little light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, too, that makes it a little less sad if you listen to it from that aspect of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that there's a lot of people can take on different meanings for it, and you've even asked people to share their stories. Has there been a certain story that's really impacted you or stuck out that you feel is super significant?
I think what was cool was that we just recently got, and I cannot remember his name, but a guy lost his mom, and you know, in the video, it's a bunch of different stories, all about my life, and the ending is my grandmother, losing my grandmother. Last year, January 1st of 2018, or 19, sorry. And so for me, Her World or Mine kind of took a different meaning when I lost my grandmother, and for him, did the same thing when he lost his mom. Because when you break up, or that breakup and the loss of a person to death, you're heartbroken and you're left with memories, and that's kind of it. And kind of preparing your mind or letting your mind sink into the fact that life has changed from that on, and you only think
that's the moment where
that's
you
the
find
moment where you find that balance.
Your new life and memories.
And it's hard because you only think of the good, and now you're like, what am I supposed to do? And he was kind of in that world, and he was brave enough and kind enough to share on the platform that we've had for fans, just to hit up my website and to go, hey,
I saw
here's how Her World or Mine hits me. And I think it's a cool way for fans to interact together, and it brings people closer. And he was kind enough to share his story about him losing his mom, and I felt that in a way of, you lose my grandmother, of a way of like, okay, well, she's gone now, we're all kind of stuck here. How do we move forward when you lose somebody of that magnitude in your life? And so those stories are really cool for me. Like, you get the heartbreak stories, and you get that's helped me get out of this relationship or rekindle this relationship. But when you get those stories, so as a listener listened to a song and it just hit them in this whole different way, just really cool to see how people take on songs differently.
And it's so personal, and I think the video is just so vulnerable from you too. And you even said in interviews that it was tough for you to watch some of the scenes back.
Yeah.
And I love at the end, which you guys have to watch the video, when you have the penny.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was like the tie-in, and how special that, like, having this moment, that's so symbolic to you.
Yeah, with the video, we wanted to be very vulnerable, very open, and to a point where, you know, people on my team were like, hey, are you cool with this being shown? Are you cool with this? I was like, yes. For the first time, it's taken me a couple years to learn that, hey, I need to just, if I tell my story and not just try to hide or put out the highlights, or let's hide this, or I don't know if people should see this, or what are people going to think if they know this, or whatever. It took me a couple years to realize, no, people are going to music, they're going to entertainment to find that connection, to help get them through. And if they know that, hey, I'm not alone in this, or I wasn't alone in this, that gives them that light, that gives them that little umph in the morning, that drive to do something, not just to sit around in it or to feel alone and depressed, and that leads to other things. So I wanted to be very open, very raw, and within the hopes of the one scene being about my parents' divorce, which I really never talked about, but it wasn't an easy one, and I know that people go through that, and you deal with it as an adult sometimes, I have, or you deal with it as a kid, or maybe there's a kid watching that video that's going through it right now.
Needs to see that.
Yeah, so there's a few scenes in that was really close to home. I think the one that got me the most was my grandmother. She always wore silver and turquoise jewelry rings on every finger, necklaces. I think she had like 5 earrings in each ear. Like
I love her already.
she had it going
That's
on.
awesome.
So when she passed away and we were planning her service, we were like, well, she needs to have her rings on, and we're gonna send her off when she sees Grandpa. It's gonna be just like how she left. And so I remember them going. I stopped the scene. I was like, wait a minute, we got to put rings on her hand, and which is weird enough when you meet a lady. And then we're like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Michael. Here's the casket you'll be laying in.
It's like the acting part of it.
The acting part had to be
imagine.
weird for her. I was like, she knew what she was coming into, right?
Right?
She didn't think she was going to be an extra. We're like, all right, play
extra.
dead. Yeah. So this lady's 5 minutes later is laying in a casket. And I'm like, stop. Can we put rings on? And just so happened when the makeup artist there had these rings that looked just like the rings my grandmother would have worn.
And what a coincidence.
It was
that's
weird,
like,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Like even the bracelet, like everything was like she kind of stole stuff from my grandma's closet, yeah. And so we put them on, and I was like, yeah, that's right. And we went back to the camera where the directors were sitting, and I looked at it, and I was like, ooh, that's a little
that moment
too
for
close,
you.
yeah. Because we had to serve everything. It was all still very new and very fresh. So, but that's when I knew I was like, all right, we're hitting something here. If it hits me like this, then it's going to hit somebody else like this as well. That this is hitting a little too close to home for them too. And but I think it was good. It was kind of therapeutic for me, honestly, in a lot of ways, and honestly felt great to be able just to kind of talk about a lot of those things I kind of kept hidden.
That.
Yeah. And just be like, all right, here it is. So. And
especially seeing where you are in your career now, like other people watching, it's like, okay, I can get through hardships and I could be there where Michael Ray is,
Yeah, well, yeah. If you want to get where I'm at, I might be able to detour some thoughts for you wouldn't you'd be able to miss. But yeah, I think it's cool. I think, like I said, it's taken me a couple years to
really get
to
there.
Just kind of shine light on all of it and not just go, all right, do we want to show this side or do we want to do this? And just showing that yeah, I mean, just whatever you do, don't look at everybody's highlight reel on social media all the time and trust that that's exactly how things are. Know that there's a struggle, there was a grind, there was something. There's always a grind and a struggle, but we live in a country that no matter what, you have the opportunity to chase down and to make a difference and to leave your fingerprint on it. And I think that people know when people know the backstory where you came from. I'm born in Eustis, Florida. I was raised in a double-wide trailer, 10.5 acres. All our land bumped up to my other family's land, my uncles, my great-grandmothers, my other uncles, and my family was first responders or telephone men. And that's just what we did, and everybody just lived an honest life, but my family never stirred me away from my dreams, never pushed it too hard, even though my family had a band and they were all in it. They were never like, do this because we want you to, and I just felt like, yeah, having those stories that'll let people know across the world that no matter what you're given or born into, whether you're born into a family of millions or you're born and it's just you and one sibling or whatever it is, just keep your mind on the goal and on that light and go after it.
Yeah.